Star Wars Rebels was kind of a sleeper series, a slow burn that started off childlike with an Aladdin type of main character that took an entire season to grow on me. Wow, I really sound like I'm criticizing it a little too harsh. But wait for it. After the first season, the show took off for me. Now, I understand that it takes a minute to get through most series introduction of characters and plot, so Star Wars Rebels was no different, and I'm glad I hung in there to continue in the second season, something Star Wars Resistance never really accomplished fully for me. Resistance wasn't a terrible show, it just wasn't my style. But Star Wars Rebels, can I just say, wow. After the first season, it really took on a whole new life and meaning, with Ezra Bridger, coming in with a new look and not trying to stay one step ahead of the lawman. The show proved its worth in the Star Wars mythos. The story was compelling, had great characters, and there is much to be said about the birth of this Rebels cell. If you haven't watched it, go give it a chance. It's definitely worth it. But there is one thing that disturbs me about Rebels and the lore it added to the Star Wars universe, and that is the world between worlds. Stick around and let's talk about why this aspect, while appreciated in the show, could mean dire consequences for the Star Wars universe as a whole, its future projects, and those of the past even. So join me for this Christmas Eve special edition of Star Wars. If you love Star Wars as much as I do, or you're just a casual fan wanting to talk about the greatest franchise ever created, then you've come to the right place, because Star Wars is all I talk about, and I upload new content whenever I can. So if you have an interest or love for Star Wars, go on and hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications and join this growing channel for deeper discussions, theories, and Star Wars lore. Each one of you is appreciated more than you know. Now, let's get on with today's topic. First, let me clear the air a bit. How is this a Christmas Eve special when I barely mention Christmas Eve? Because it's Christmas Eve and I'm dedicating this time to you, a time when I would normally be getting ready for the little ones opening presents. I'm here talking about Star Wars with you. Why? Because I love Star Wars and I appreciate all of you so much, and I don't mind spending a holiday with you all. Okay, back to Star Wars Rebels and the world between worlds. While the concept is really cool and the execution was even cooler, I think it's a bad idea to use it any further than it already has been. Yes, I think the idea was great for Star Wars Rebels. If we didn't have the world between worlds, we wouldn't be getting an Ahsoka Tano series. She wouldn't have appeared in The Mandalorian nor in the Book of Boba Fett. After her duel with Darth Vader and her failure to bring Anakin Skywalker back to the light, Ahsoka Tano was killed. But then something amazing happened. Ezra Bridger discovered the world between worlds in the Jedi Temple on Lothal. He learned that he could change the past by interacting with it through these portals. So he reached in and pulled Ahsoka Tano out just before Darth Vader delivered the final blow, thus changing the future and destiny of Ahsoka Tano. Great! Ahsoka Tano is a beloved character who deserves to live on and continue the teachings of the Jedi Order, even if she's no longer a Jedi. Let's face it, she acts more like a Jedi than those professing to be of the Order, or at least she acts like what we perceive Jedi should be: kind, caring, bound by honor, a real guardian of peace and justice, and she wasn't held to a political system that warped the other Jedi. But by saving Ahsoka from death and altering the timeline of Star Wars storytelling has created a bad precedent, and it stands to convolute the writings of future and possibly even past Star Wars stories. None of us like the fact that Ahsoka died in Star Wars Rebels, and we cried about it loudly. I'm not saying that Dave Filoni changed her fate by using the world between worlds because we asked him to bring her back. That was a coincidence. But what about the future? There are those who are already asking to use the world between worlds to retcon other Star Wars stories, such as the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and the voices have been loud. And although this may satisfy a lot of disgruntled Star Wars fans, it's an idea that shouldn't happen, whether I agree with it or not. Hear me out. I'm not taking away from anyone's feelings about how Disney has handled the beloved franchise. You're entitled to those feelings. But what if the writers listened and the world between worlds was used to change everything some Star Wars fans don't agree with? Let's go back a little bit. In A New Hope, it was absolutely clear that stormtroopers can't hit a target from 3 meters away, and a lot of fans don't like that idea. It's become a meme. It's also become a running theme that heroes are in no danger if there are stormtroopers around. So, why don't we use the World Between Worlds to fix that? Give some real threat to Han Solo and Luke Skywalker as they attempt to escape the Death Star. I know that's an extreme case, and someone would have to go all the way back to the inception of the stormtroopers and give them better training, but it still has the same concept: change past mistakes. A lot of fans don't like the prequel trilogy. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. What if Lucasfilm listened to those fans and went back and used the portal to save Anakin Skywalker's mother? And the same with the sequel trilogy. Go back and ensure the Emperor doesn't somehow return. The possibilities are endless, and maybe it would make for better Star Wars storytelling, but it sets a bad pace, basically saying, well, you don't like this one, so we'll just go back and change it anytime a fan isn't happy. And as Star Wars fans, there is something we will always have issues with. It's the way we are. If that were to happen, it would convolute the stories more than the current DC universe. Seriously, how many times can they really reboot Batman? It's honestly getting old. Oh, you don't like this one? Well, we'll just make another and another, until there are so many stories and the canon becomes so confusing that A New Hope is now irrelevant. I'm glad they saved Ahsoka. She's my favorite light side user, but I think this Deus Ex Machina, it wasn't the way to do it. Not because the concept is bad, but because the precedent is bad. Listening to the fans and changing other stories that have already been written will hurt the franchise rather than help it. But that's just my feelings on it. And there's one thing in Rebels that tells us that the World Between Worlds shouldn't be used further, and that's the moment that Ezra Bridger wants to save Kanan Jarrus using the portal. Ahsoka tells him that he shouldn't because although it may save Kanan, it will have a lasting impact on everything else, thus telling us that the World Between Worlds isn't there to fix something he doesn't like, and in turn telling us the World Between Worlds should not be used to fix something that we as fans don't like. Let me know in the comments if you have other thoughts on the idea of using World Between Worlds to create other timelines and fixing stories you don't agree with. It's an interesting element for sure. But that's all I have for today. I'm going to get on with my family gathering and enjoy the holiday. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday as well. Enjoy the important things in life, friends and family. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Be good to each other. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars community is the only way.